Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. And United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. So before we start our today's session, let's take the blessings of Almighty. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022 to 2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals SDGs 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. We welcome you all. Before we start our session, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
Kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah Shatru buddhi vinashaya Deepajyotirnamostute Deepajyotirnamostute Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are, as usual, we are commemorating various international and national events. Though we don't have any specific international event today, at a national level, we have Chocolate Day. As we know, in the West, this entire week is commemorated as Valentine's Week, though it is not related to our culture or tradition. It talks about relationships. So this 1 week, there is a different way of, showing or expressing a gesture for relationship. And as it has been a practice or a tradition in the West, though not mandatory, that loved ones gift each other chocolates so their relationship always remains sweet. And it enjoyed enduring popularity as it can be consumed as a drink, an edible bar, in desserts, or even as flavor. And it is favorite among the children and also the adults. The consumption of chocolate goes back around 2,500 years, which was discovered as a liquid chocolate and believed to be the god of wisdom. And initially, the cocoa seeds were considered so valuable that they were used as a form of currency. So back in those days, flavorings in chocolate were scarce and it was consumed as a better drink. In fact, it was sugar-free until 16th century when Europeans started adding sugar to them. So this made chocolate more palatable and quickly caught on the markets. It became one of the many preferred treats. So the most popular present-day chocolate companies started their operations in the 19th century and early 20th centuries. As we know, most of these days, especially commemorations of these West days, are based, to promote some kind of business, so that they can generate some revenue out of it, so that people are engaged in buying spree or buying behavior, so that they sell something, they generate income, they generate sales. So this chocolate day was intended to promote the business of chocolates, so that more chocolates can be purchased and more chocolates can be gifted. So Cadbury was founded in England in 1868 and is one of the leading chocolate brands. 25 years later, Milton S. Hershey started, which is now one of the biggest breast brands in the world. And Nestle began its operations in 1860s and also have branched out to be one of the largest food conglomerates in the world. So they also initially started off as a drink that took shape into a currency and had become one of the biggest industries, not only generates incomes and employs hundreds of thousands of people across the world, but produces food items that are loved by many. So Chocolate Day celebrates incredible versatility, and it comes in various shapes, forms, and sizes. So the daily allowance for an adult man and woman without health problems is 1.06 to 1.76 ounces of dark chocolate every day. And with high physical exertion, an increase in the norm by 1.5 times is allowed. So doctors recommend eating milk and white chocolate no more than 0.7 ounces per day. Though it should not be made as a daily routine, it can be an occasional. If it is made of daily routine, it can create a lot of health issues. Already we have seen children and adults who are consuming a lot of chocolates are the risk factors for various obese and various other health issues. And not only that, though chocolate contains high level of oxidants, that is antioxidants, chocolate could lower cholesterol levels and prevent memory decline. Uh, but chocolate contains a large number of calories. People who are seeking to lose or maintain weight or stay healthy should eat chocolate only occasionally or in moderation. We have seen various studies and various researchers also. Chocolate is more frequently associated with gaining weight rather than with dropping a few unwanted pounds. And so moderation is a key and an effective chocolate weight loss pack. Always prevention is better than cure. And chocolates are cocoa rich. It takes about 400 cocoa beans to make just 1 pound of chocolate. And to oak chocolate is 1.76 ounce chocolate bar that costs a whooping $2.60 per bar. A Lebanese chocolatier and Harrods have collaborated to make Swarovski studded chocolates, which is worth $10,000. So there are different ways to express love or relationship. This is one of the way. As already mentioned, these are different ways to promote businesses. So those who can afford, they can buy and give. Those who can't afford, there are different alternative ways. It doesn't mean that if you don't gift a chocolate today, or if you haven't gifted rose yesterday, that doesn't mean you don't love each other. You don't have express your relationship. So these can be these are purely optional. In fact, with now social media widely prevalent and lot of trending that happenings, it has been a kind of fad or a trend that is being, and we have see lot of people also like a lot of psychosocial problems also being seen, especially with the teenagers and young adults, and even the middle-aged people also, because when we are preoccupied with the various other activities, it is also seen that if you forget to perform or take up activity in this 1 week, like we have various like kiss day or hug day, if you forget to kiss or hug or give flower or give a rose or give a chocolate, that is leading to a lot of conflicts in the relationships. So taken in the positive side, okay, but taken in the negative side, instead of promoting relationships, it is creating a lot of conflicts and misunderstanding between the couples, and also leading to often there are certain cases where they have led to divorce or separation. So unnecessarily, those who are with children also, are getting affected by such practices, blindly following. See, we should understand. We have to be more practical, and we have to be very practical in terms like, if it is not, it is completely optional. There is nothing that if you don't gift anything on these days, doesn't happen, or you don't love them or you don't express them any. So we need to understand that these are for purely business purposes, to promote their business or to promote a product or a commodity on these days. So these we need to understand this. And without a chocolate also, you can express different ways. So the main intention is to express love or relationship among the couples or among the family. It doesn't mean, and we have a very wrong connotation because a lot of these family systems are not rich in the West, so they don't follow all these kind of relationships. And, even a lot of incest culture also came from the West, where we see, even we see sexual relationships within the family also, which are, strictly forbiddable here. So they don't have that particular definite culture. So they don't understand that kind of family systems or relationships we have, which are very rich in India. And there are, to protect these family systems and traditions, there are a lot of customs and traditions which keep, families intact. But with the uh, Western culture and with the infiltration of these Western cultures, there are a lot of things that are happening. We should be aware of that, simply not being carried away of by these Western cultures and practices without, without proper understanding or the reason behind why it was started and what was the intent for which these systems were in place in the very first place. So being cautious about all these things, we can express love in different ways. And of course, it is not a one-day affair. Like most of the things we see, they have a very specific day to express love. It doesn't mean that, today you express and the whole day, whole year, or the whole life you don't express it. It's fine. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. In fact, because relationship is a win-win strategy where a give and take policy where, we share each other, the bonds, the feelings, emotions, and it happens every moment of the life, every day, and every week, every month. It's a continuous process. It's not just one day that you do something and the rest of the day you doesn't do. It doesn't work in that way. So we need to understand the complexity of relationships, the kind of way, the kind or the ways of expression of such relationships. So we will take up other commemorations after this session. Today we have with us Mr. Phanindra. So let's invite him to our forum, and he would like to share certain activities that he's into. Yeah, Mr. Phanindra, you can, we welcome you to this international webinar series. So you can unmute yourself, you can start your video. If you are available.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Is it okay if I could turn on my camera?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can switch on your video.
Yeah,
So you
I
can
hope
give your brief introduction by yourself. I think you are the best person to introduce. So you can go ahead with your introduction, and you can just share various activities being done, and how it is very much relevant to this sustainable development. This forum is basically talking about holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development. Yeah, over to you,
yeah.
Mani.
Thank you so much, Ravindra sir. And thank you, Mary Florence, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good evening to everyone. So this is Fanindra Dashrath. I am recent graduate from JNTU Hyderabad, affiliated to Spooty Engineering College from in EC department. So right from my very own second year, I was very much interested into activities like public speaking, hosting an organization. I worked as a journalist, as a news reporter in a local news channel as well. So my always focus been in concentration of mental health, which primarily includes youth. So I am the founder of the Navagunjar organization. What my organization does is to strive to create awareness on mental health, especially on youth, ages specifically ranging up to 14 to 24. So any kind of mental health related issues that surrounds towards it, stigma that anticipated towards it. So my organization creates awareness to a very large extent. And I'm also a UPG sustainability leader, which means that United People Global, which is based in Switzerland, Geneva. I am a recent graduate from Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship. I also have a counseling degree from Mental Health Institute of Fine Arts. So these have been one of my primary experiences into mental health, especially in creating awareness around it. Today, I'm going to present you a PPT. It's going to be a basic introduction with some statistics involved. At the end, I'm going to share you with some numbers of a toll free, where you're going to call and get some professional help. So allow me to share the screen. Yeah. So, you know, as I said earlier, mental health is one such thing which is really fascinated, not just by topic. When most of the people usually encounter me saying, "Hey, Vanindra, mental health is a fancy word technique, in order to attract other people, stating that you are a mental health activist." And most of the people kind of really comment on this note. I'll talk about mental health and talk about some sensitive information. Do you think you are so cool enough in public? No, the clear cut answer is no. Why mental health is, I am the only boy, like, I'm the only boy that a very youngster, who raised my voice in order to speak, not just because it was fancy enough, or not just because it was cool to talk in public, or anyone who's surrounded by four members. To be really honest, I'm a victim of mental illness. Over the period of time, I suffered a lot mentally, though coming from a well settled background. So neither of the wealth, neither of the people, could able to understand what I was actually going through. So there was so much of stigma attached towards it. Especially my parents were actually scared to tell to people, Fanindra is actually suffering from depression. So they also scared to take me to a professional mental health counselor. Indeed, they felt that this was not the need when I was actually 17 and 18. So the reason for my anxiety issues and depression were very clear. It was something related to studies, and me within who is battling myself. So these were the primary reasons, and I ended up, attempting many suicides. And by the God's grace, I am still alive. So over the period of time, I realized that the world is a beautiful place to live in. When I went for my leadership and entrepreneurship program in Gujarat, so we were actually trained to be think different and kind of give support to others. So over the period of time, I explored a lot. So it is one such my exploration was also a vipassana, since I continue to practice it, and I'll continue to tell how did I actually change to be an activist and how did I continue to help people. Uh, so so if you have any kind of questions, I'm happy to take up all your questions and will answer it at the end of the session, at the end of this PPT. So as I said, I am a sustainability leader. I'm at School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship graduate. I am a recent graduate from JNTU. Uh, See, the primary well-being question is, what is mental health in general? So this question might be so tickling and kind of confusing. And the biggest question is, what is mental health and how do you explain to a 9-year-old kid? And primarily, what do you think mental health is firstly, before you explain or come to tell to someone, what is mental health? Is it state of mind? Is it state of mind or state of being? Can I call, mental health is a state of being when I accidentally touch the heart vessel, and that reaction is my mental health. Okay, how can I call my mental health? What is definition for mental health for me when I heard a bad news and how I'm actually reacting towards it? So what changes happening within inside of mind? Is it mental state or is it physical being state? So with these questions, I want you to think. My area is focused to the youngsters, but I also find elderly people in this session. But with these questions, I want you to think: what is mental health in general? It is, and how do you kind of balance or imbalance that part? Be secondary. Is it balance or imbalance? What are the ways to balance it? That part be secondary. Primarily, how do you define your mental health or mental health in general? So think. So let us continue to think about that. So, my definition for mental health is very much clear. It is a positive concept, to be really honest. There is no stigma attached towards it. There is no shame to talk about mental health. Stating that it is a very sensitive information and it might slides down to another side of the road. So it is never in such my case. So mental health is a positive, concept. It majorly, includes your emotions, your psychic feelings, your psychological feelings, and how do you socially interact with others? How does social interact with others? So it usually encompasses of this your psychological well-being, your emotions, and how do you think and how do you feel towards it. That somehow defines this, the definition of mental health. So and to be really honest, it is not your thinking ability, it is not your holistic well-being. Mental health is more than state of mind, which in turns include how does your mind actually work at the time of your joyful situations, at the time of your most endangered situations as well. So it is one such thing which is considered as more than state of mind, rather than holistic well-being, which means that I'm happy, I'm laughing, I'm happy, there's some inner peace within inside me. It doesn't it of course it defines the mental health, but it is also defines more than your state of mind, especially what you actually think it is. So one of my very close Swami Bodhavan and the Swamiji from Ramakrishna Much says that human beings actually have an infinite potential to achieve. This might be a motivational statement for the youngster, but it is often times it true. We are designed to do some certain tasks. We are designed to think in some certain different way, where it is usually differentiates us from animals or any kind of other creatures on this planet Earth. So your ideas, your way of thinking, everything actually matters a lot. How do you defining your mental health, and that does include more than state of your mind, which means beyond sometimes your thinking level. So, to be really honest, I hate saying this on face, but the statistics are one such thing which is actually very true. 1 in 6 adults experience mental health related issues, and we have 10 members in this meeting. I am not pretty much sure, but 1 out of 10, like two in 10 in such meetings might be facing some sort of mental health issues, and that is real. So, I mean, my major concentration was always on youth and well-being especially. So, 20 to 25% age of the youth actually suffer from mental health related issues. Whenever there is a suffering, we talk about all the statistics. There should be, suffering release meant. For example, to be honest, I was walking on the road. I fell down. My ankle sprained. So I need to visit the doctor. In such similar manner, you're feeling low, you're feeling bad, you're feeling anxiety issues. You are a student, you are supposed to improve your true potential, but these issues are actually kind of darkness, that don't allow you to find a way towards the light. So these are many kind of issues that actually youth faces in general, and to be really honest, it is more common than actually we think. So we usually think that everyone is fine, great, doing good, but that's not the case. So to all those people who think that, hey, what is this guy saying? Mental health is shit. No, that's not true. Mental health is part of our life. You have to think that it is integral. Integral का मतलब ये है कि it is part of our life. This mental illness, you're being healthy, how you're coping up stress, and eventually how are you contributing to the society out there. It's all part of it. So it enables your abilities. Eventually, the more you explore towards it in order for better improvement, you'll able to realize your true potential and capabilities as well. So now the question is, as I always said, how can I maintain my positive mental health? How can I maintain my good health and well-being? So before I began to say that how can I, and all these activities that I'm gonna say, a step by step, depending on any kind of age it is, it's all the chemicals that releases in your body. So I am not a true, applied psychologist student, but to be really honest, it's the chemicals at the end of the day that releases and flows in your body. It's the blood pressure and the blood flow. So how do you kind of release those positive dopamine into your body to maintain your good health and well-being? So how do you release that good chemical? So primarily, you have to acknowledge your feelings. Yes, I am feeling low at this moment. That is right. My grandfather died recently. I cried so hard like a mad dog. Eventually realizing his presence, I still kind of feel low. But why? Why I am doing this? What's happening with me? I have to acknowledge my feelings a lot. So eventually, over the period of time, the primary source can be, connecting with others. For example, I found myself in this presentation, people are meeting like Ravindra Sur and all. I met Mary ma'am, Mary Florence ma'am. So eventually kind of surround yourself. That's a primary thing to be a biggest mood changer and your stress buster. And eventually all the suicide attempts just happen because they kind of skip everyone and just go to a room or a void place where no one is there and tend to do some really wrong stuff to their bodies. So what I wanted to say is acknowledge your feelings. They are real, find the changes in your body, feel the changes, mark those changes, how I'm reacting. When my results were just came up and I lost I failed in some subjects, how I'm reacting, when my dog died, how do I react when my loved ones actually lost it. So the primary step is to connect with some good and decent personalities around you. That might be your counselor who kind of confises your feelings and comforts your emotions, who encourages and motivates you. Find people, surround yourself with great ones. So, yeah, as I always said that, there is no other shorter escape. The large extent being said that yoga is one such course. Believe me or not, even I did not felt I was need of yoga. I was need of Vipassana until I discovered it. I went to a 10 days Vipassana course, leaving my entire family. Let them do whatever they want. I wanted to come out of this zone. So I left my house telling to no one. I went to Vipassana, stood there. I did meditation up to 7 to 10 hours per day, had those pure sattvic food with no onion and garlics and simple and pious food. I slept by a I slept by 10, 9:30, 10, and I continued to have those regular things. Eventually released a lot of chemicals in my body, these good chemicals, which changed me a lot to be a really far extent. And all those who really feel like, hey, it's what gonna happen. I understand it is kind of really tiring at the beginning in order to take up a yoga, in order to take up a meditation. But ladies and gentlemen, believe me or not, results are pretty much high. And the statistics actually says that 43% of people face less mental health or those than the rest who don't exercise, who don't uh, kind of meditate and all. So all these are kind of contemplation practices. I'm a Hindu being born. So it primarily you not need to start sometimes with meditation, but also you can start with a journaling during your sleep during the night, or kind of a positive affirmation that you wanted to get something like, you do not need to rush completely. Whenever you rush to the office, whenever you kind of rush to here and there, uh, again, I want you to take some 2 minutes of your time, 2 to 5 minutes of your time, sit down, close your eyes. Okay, take a deep breath. Take a 2 day breath and close your eyes. I know there must be a lot of flashes going here and there, and that's fine. We human beings have kind of a juggling brain. We will tend to face some flashes here and there, but it's fine. Okay, calm down, relax your brain. When you actually sit down, the stress level, the anxiety levels that pumped up in your body, it slows down, it comes to a ground, so that your psychological thinking, your good thinking, your creative side opens up. And that is where good mental health comes into the picture and your true potential is come out. So so it not need to be what I actually say you need to implement. You can also find your own way that suits your environment and that suits your sustainable well-being across you. But this practice is must. This practice is compulsory. There is a reason why all the rich men usually only have a single color, the same dress every single day. There's a reason why most people go gym and hit hard. There's a reason why a lot of people, especially the Western world, are attracted towards of spirituality in terms of vipassana and meditation. And Indians have this attitude of not discovering, which is started within ourselves. So, so this small little things are actually helps us a lot to a really far extent. So, as I said, make sure of your senses, embrace your senses, be in touch with your feelings, take a deep breath and relax. This point of relaxation is must. So it can be any other form of ways. Your coping skills be either be vipassana technique, or either be meditation, or either be contemplation practices. Like you are a Hindu, I go to temple every single day and I have a pradakshina across the deities, and that's fine. It somehow copes me up. When I surround with the aura of the goddess and with the positivity of in the temple. And being a Muslim, they usually namaz it every single day. So this is how you need to cope up some kind of developing skills, which in turns improves our mental health related issues. It continues to slows down. And why, if you don't do it, I'll continue to have a normal life. You can also ask me the question, like, why should I have this? I'll continue to have my normal life. But I'll tell you, when I went to Vipassana, the founder, Gorinka, actually said that, mental health issues are like, a strong wave hit to a rock. When the wave said, the rock has this strong line on the rock itself. So over the period of time, in order to, you rub that rock, in order to rub those lines of illness, lines of depression, lines of mental health issues, it usually takes some time. Imagine there is a strong rock, a stone hits so hard, there was a really strong lines on the rock. This coping developing skills are those techniques which eventually erupts and erases all those issues on the rock, but it still takes some time. This uh this issues coming out of this, it takes some time. It is not a one particular day things. But if you continue to do this, you'll not only be far away from your mental health issues. The goal is to attain true potential, your best potential in life. So over the period of time, I said that I am the founder of an organization. I got a chance to represent our own country, which is India. So I am the only boy who got selected from India representing South Asia region from United People Global. United People Global is one such organization uh, which is based in Switzerland in Geneva. Out of many people who actually apply to this organization, every year there's a program called Sustainability Leadership. I guess last year it was 6,000 plus people who have actually applied across the globe, and hardly 600 got selected into this program. Out of the 600 who got selected, over the period of 3 months, you have to turn on assignments, be active participant in it, and you will be a certified sustainability leader. And I am going on a fully funded trip to Hurricane Island, which is in USA. All my flight tickets, everything, accommodation, food, and travel is covered by this organization. So eventually, being part of this is very much tough to separate from the crowd. But I continue to talk about my organization. I continue to spread, create awareness, conduct workshop at this very tender age. So which is one such platform where I got an opportunity, and I was part of global campaign. As I said, I'm the only boy who's part of it. So this is my flyer. This is my vision and mission. And these are my fellow colleagues across the globe. I am John Akala from Philippines. You have Helen. Helen is not there in the. Yeah, we have Helen from Indonesia. We have Marin from Brazil. We have Nathan from Switzerland. We have a lot of amazing cohort that I got to see in United People Global that I spoke with across the globe, people who are actually working on sustainability. And these were the kind of support that people actually get. And these the statistics say 50% feelings that you heal after a therapy, after a prescription medicine, after counseling, after support, and after inpatient treatment. So the question is, like, all these practices are fine, but there will be a time where you need to seek a professional help. And 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 you can ask me, when do I seek a professional help? uh so so if you kind of feel that these kind of symptoms in your day-to-day life, and you're not coping up things, and you're still facing some issues like eating or sleeping too much, having really low energy, feeling unusually confused, edged, or scared, hearing voices or believing things that are untrue. To be really honest, a few years back, I had a nightmares, shivering nightmares. Suddenly, I used to wake up and see someone was roaming in my house. So there's unusual nightmares that I used to get when I sleep, like, those early panic attacks during night times were actually real, and I suffered through it. And I initially also, before Vipassana practicing, before unlocking my true potential, the basic, problem, me being a student, was I was unable to perform my day-to-day task, especially in studies, and I was really back at it over the period of time. So I could not concentrate, I could not study. But I just came out of this by amazing help of counselors, and Vipassana is one such game changer, and meditation and contemplation practices in day-to-day life. So do not hesitate to take professional help. I know counseling is sometimes hard and costly on the other hand also. So these are the some of the free toll-free numbers where you can call and talk to a mental health professional and a counselor, where you did not need to hesitate the facing in front of them on face to face, but also you can talk to them stating your entire issue. You'll feel comfort, to be really honest. I spoke many times from Asara. But the moment you get connect, you'll find some amazing counselor, especially from Asra. So I happened to spoke with a lot of counselors. They was very comforting. I mean, to be really honest, you have this certain type of anxiety, depression. There's nothing happening, and, like, the small little words from these counselors, comforts a lot extent, to a really large extent. So it is really much mandatory that people don't have this information at all. People don't even know that there are phone numbers or toll-free numbers that you can call and seek a professional help. I want you to take a screenshot of it and, thank me later, and take help and advantage of it. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been my organization page. Uh, this is a point where this is my organization page where I create awareness on mental health. As I said, I talk on Instagram on various activities. This is my friend Hafsa Tahir from Pakistan. So we spoke on Asian mental health related issues, and how do we actually face it, and how should one should come out of those things. And I spoke with a lot of people on Instagram. So if you have free time to check it, so don't forget to get onto the page of navgunjara_org. So I also conduct workshop. So this was my recent past workshop that I've conducted in an engineering colleges addressing youth up to 2000 students. So this is how my journey has been. And eventually, if you have any kind of problem, suicide is never the right answer, and never the end result. In fact, it passes your pain from uh, from yours to others. And according to the Bhagavad Gita, it was always said that you know the pain of death. Death has a pain, right? The pain of death is equal to 10,000 scorpions biting at a time. Imagine, one single scorpion biting us, and it's the end of the game. It's the end of the day for us. Now imagine, like, 10 scorpions biting, 100,000 scorpions biting at a time, and that is the pain of death. I don't want any of them to at least think about suicide attempts to any kind of problems that you face in your life. Come up, there is a solution, there could be a way. Find yourself with a state of peace and solace in your life. So, that kind of research, that kind of hope should definitely arise in your day-to-day life. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I am open for questions. If you have any questions, I can tell you out. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Kanindra, for sharing and opening up on this platform. It's really nice. That's why I gave your introduction to you only, because when we hear from
Thank you, sir.
someone who has really gone through that creates a different impact rather than someone talking. That's how it was really nice that you bounced back to normal, and that is what we expect from ourselves, and the society also is expecting. But I would like to, retrospecting the various changes that are happening. So how do you think, why do you think these things are happening nowadays more and more, especially youth, as you have also presented, various statistics? Why more and more youth, or especially the children, or even the middle-aged population, is becoming more vulnerable to mental health issues? What, as per your understanding, what may be the various reasons which have been not stated in the presentation?
So there are a variety of reasons, to be really honest. In the world of growing competition, we don't usually understand our basic right and basic need. So especially when I talk about students and youth, most of them are depressed and face some sort of mental health issues. The basic root was always been, I things were they wanted to pursue a passion, they wanted to pursue a career, but they don't realize that they can make a huge career out of it, and they see that no one has done before in their families, so they ended up choosing a wrong career path, which in turn affects them a lot. So I wanted to be a journalist at the first case. So being born in a South Indian family, I was already told to be an engineer before my birth. So when I went to college was actually much more depressing than me. So and these were the certain kind of issues that people face on a career good note, on the career side. The other side of issues, they are fascinated so much with the current trending movies out there, indeed not realizing that this is never a reality in the first place. Movies are never meant to be so much realistic rather than biopics, to be really honest. All this, so much of superstars called Pavan Kalyan, all these nepotistic families are taken away the expectations, and it was so much high that the most of the cases that I see was not having a proper career path, and they ended up doing something else, and that results being them jobless or not satisfaction, and eventually family not supporting them, that thing. And the other side is some sort of external affairs, like marital issues, love affairs and all, they don't work, and someone rejects you and they eventually died up. So recently, I knew my friend who was a very successful doctor who completed his MBBS. Before that, he has spent 3 years taking a long-term course in NEET. After his MBBS, a girl said actually no, and he was so much depressed to a point where he went exactly opposite to the train and he died. And that could be one of the worst things that I could encounter. And all these things really disturbed a lot. So all these unrealistic things and fantasical things that movies has actually set up a bar are never true in a first case. So these are variety kind of issues, especially the youth is facing, and there is so much of spotlight syndrome. People think that people are looking at me, I need to look good. During this process, you tend to do some kind of worse things into your body that initially starts from drugs, and later on you realize this is worse, and you're unable to come out, and that depression is like hell. So another kind of things are somehow attached to these things around. So I really feels like there is no proper way of enlightenment. No, and the values set by Swami Vivekananda, the message that he wanted to spread was never known at the first case. So I think these are the variety kind of issues that the youth is facing right now.
Yeah, as you rightly said, because you also belong to this millennial group, these young generations.
Yeah.
So, because we all have, we gone through similar phases, or, people are still going through similar phase. So we see, uh, and, this is the right age at which, we need to be properly guided. But, as you rightly pointed out, the media influence, we do not have the right kind of role models in the place. You see a lot of these celebrities are also broken families, broken individuals.
Yeah.
And, when we look at them personally also, we have a lot of flaws. Of course, we appreciate in spite of that, they are doing something. But, we lack these kind of right models in the society. Often, so most of these role models or influencers or whatever we call, these are just, a model in one domain, but in various domains, we see they are a huge failures in their life. So this is what, not taking so critically, but this is what actually happens in reality. Often, mostly people live in their fantasies, like especially, when we watch something, a 2.5 hour movie or 3 hour movie, say we feel, so much motivated, so much energized that we want to change the entire world after stepping out the theater. But what happens immediately once the movie, comes to an end or the titles start displaying, people start rushing, stepping on each other, crowding themselves to just to exit out of this theater. There itself, by the time you take your vehicle out, you will be exhausted. And finally, you end up saying that that's what we can do. So these kind of, that is what reality is, in fact. And fortunately or unfortunately, that is the thing that is happening. We have so many influencers, we have so many role models, but these are not sustainable in the very first place. Because, because especially youth, especially teenagers, they take in a very critical manner. I mean, in a critical way, they have a different way of looking at things. So they look in different perspectives, and because they are very intuitive and they are very exploring kind of, attitude they have, which they want to explore, they want to take risk, they want to understand how things are, and they want to explore their passions, interests, hobbies. And especially we also say this is, high risk taking age, and high risk taking behaviors are widely prevalent. But how far, and it is also important at that time, because we are in a social construct where there are certain norms, there are certain things that are, there in place, and we have to go in a win-win situation. But often we see many times, either one or the other party, or either the children are very adamant, or either the parents are very adamant, or even at times both are so adamant that they don't want to adapt or adjust to the situation. And one more aspect, because having so much of counseling experience, what I came across also, being not flexible or adaptable. See, passions can be pursued at any time. And, we need to understand that at a career level, passions can be explored, can be, pursued, but not at the cost of careers. That is what, nowadays the youth are not able to understand. Because, see, certain passions are, because these passions are also based on the trends, unless and until they're, very much like we see many of the musicians, or, generally, especially when it comes to music, or when it comes to these art forms, or even for that matter, sports also. We have seen many sportsmen and also many celebrities, even in movies. We have very few models who have been very successful, in their lives or in their careers also. At certain times, they have a very good, career options, and they have reached heights. And at the other part of their life, they disappeared, and they could not even come back to society also. And we have seen, nowadays we have seen a lot of celebrities also committing suicides, or, just isolating them from the society completely. They don't even, they don't even have or come back to the society, even online also. So this is what, because when when an individual starts enjoying his stardom, or, the kind of celebrity status, nowadays it is becoming more and more with the social media. Everyone got a platform, and everyone is becoming a celebrity. And, this is becoming more and more. And moreover, the mental health, now why everyone is talking about mental health is, the insurance industry has stepped in. Now, where there is money, people want to exploit that. So that is what, today, mental health is a very important aspect, no matter, it can't be denied. It is as equally important as physical health. But, nowadays, because mental health insurance has come, and, there is a huge lot of money. We know how much medical scam and other things happening. And that is an open thing that is happening. Everyone knows about it. There is nothing to deny in that. And now with this mental health also, insurance has come into place, and, people are charging and they are getting reimbursed. So there is a lot of money involved. So a lot of, business involved. So everyone wants to promote business, and everyone want to make use of this opportunity. Now this is also has become a business. So more earlier, before Mental Health Act has come, it was, a different perspective. But now with after Mental Health Act has come, it is now seen in the commercial terms. When that, everyone is promoting business. In fact, there is to be seen, now even today, we see there is not an affordable counselor available. Earlier, there was affordability. Affordability of a counselor was there. But now, it's very difficult to find a counselor who charges less than 500 rupees. Now it comes to the affordability. Again, it has become unaffordable. And It's not like, the regular physical health that you go one time and get the medicines and complete the course, and you may not require again. But this mental health, especially counseling, they require a lot of series of sessions. And that's how it has become, again, it is becoming. Already we have seen many concerns, because I also do counseling sessions. Most of my sessions are free. So I don't, commercially charge. So people keep sharing with me that, this is what charging, and it becomes often unaffordable, because again, most of the population is either the middle class or the lower middle class. Again, affordability is again, going every time, taking an appointment, getting a session for paying 500, and even if you go every week for 4 weeks a month, or it is costing them 2,000 to 2,500. Again, that's a burden for them. So how we are going to look at these developments? This is also a very important aspect. And there is also an interesting study, a research also stating that most of, and because I am sharing these, because, having a person, who had personally gone through, maybe I want to know from you also your perspective, because I am sharing, there are other many positive sides, but I just wanted to critically share a few points, so that I want your reflection on how do you, feel, or how do you perceive these as a, survivor, or as an influencer of these mental
Okay,
health
sir.
issues. So that's
Okay,
why I
sir.
was sharing these
Please tell me.
issues. So how do you look at these aspect now? Because first of all, it is not being much affordable, and now that business commerce has settled, and we have seen already, people are charging too high, and many, even at times we have seen, the influence of media, as you also mentioned, especially we know the various problems or root causes are due to substance abuse. Either it may be in the form of alcohol or tobacco consumption, it may be smoking, or
Drugs.
and drugs. These do not have, especially these do not have any single benefit for, positive benefit to health or well-being. But unfortunately, especially youth, forget about adults, especially youth in this age, they are very much into this substance abuse. So as a youth, as you belong to that age group, how do you see, how do you look at this? Because nowadays, even that is also become a social norm. Unfortunately, it is a social evil.
Yeah, yeah, sir. To be really honest, I try to, run away from those people who actually surround with alcoholism, drug abuse, and people who actually smoke a lot. In fact, after my, at the time of my graduation, I got into a workplace, proper interning in the office where everyone's smoking. The goal of an every software engineer working in the office was smoking. My ex-boss smoking, my teammates were smoking. There was only few things on the laptop. There was a PC, there was a laptop charger, there was a cigarette, and there were a gummies. The cigarette or gummies were every corner of the table. And these all these my teammates and my ex-bosses, they were not something like 40 and 45. They were somewhere around like 27 and 28. And that really affected me a lot, because interning at a very young place, at my first experiences, I still remember my friend who was never into smoking before in the college, eventually started smoking. He said that, the kind of uh, 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 too cool to look too cool in front of others, to look so vibing, and the Gen Z vibing, the millennial vibing. Oh, this is cool, this is trendy, and also socializing. People usually call it as, substance abuse like alcoholism, smoking, and all. How do you socialize with others? There is no other party without alcohol with our teammates. So most probably, I do not choose this environment to stay in. And when I choose to stay in, unfortunately, my preferences were very much clear. So I don't usually restrict and saying and being calm to myself. I tell to my friends, hey, I don't actually like smoking, and you do not need to force for me. And please do not smoke in front of me. So, having said that, no one has ever smoked in front of me, and there is a specific area, room for smoking. And also, sometimes we also surround with the girls of women and gender. So eventually, don't like smoking, but they do drink. But that's up to the choice. So I am is one such one who has a huge lot of clarity. This clarity is inside of me. It is not just randomly came up and said, and I'm not sugarcoating on these things. So when I was in my class of ninth and 10th, during my early school days, and 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, my school did one of the best things. Like, we have an yearly annual day celebration. Before an annual day celebration, there was a science fair. So my principal sir was really kind enough to take some topics like alcohol abuse, drug abuse. So I was a team lead, I was a house captain who was handling this drug abuse. So cases. So I got to know while working as a student, I got to know what these drugs can affect to your body, how this can actually influence you to the worst level, how this actually drag you and take up your life and end up your life was very miserable. And I also see in my family those who are into alcohol abuse. So I usually see them where they actually end up financially, physically, mentally as well. So I never wanted them to be in a very first place. And it really takes a lot. I mean, I am a slightly deep down spiritual guy. So, so these things, I mean, I thank to my family where I'm surrounded with sometimes who inculcated with lot of spiritualism and allowed me to take Vipassana, though they kind of disagree sometimes. But I also thank to my friends and family, who kind of respect my opinion as well. Having said that, I don't like smoking. They don't smoke in front of me. Having said that, I hate that drinking beer. They never forced me. Thanks to them, though, maybe sometimes if they continue to force me to really lot, I might drink, because you never know. This age is kind of tickling sometimes. My opinions can be wrong, but they never gave me a chance to take a beer also. Thanks to them, because I said my opinions first. And thanks to my boss who made my priority heard louder to everyone. So with having enough knowledge and seeing very close with those people, and respecting each other's opinion, I think I am particularly kind of really strong into this thing, sir. And this is what made me to go forward in life also.
Thank you, Fanindra, for sharing. So, I think the most thing, or the pertinent thing we all need to address is these social evils of, substance abuse today, because it is becoming, unfortunately, a norm. Now, people know that there is no single benefit, but they are, promoting it in a great way, unfortunately. So why do you think why we are engaging in such foolish or idiotic behavior? We know the definition of idiot or a fool who knows, but still practices. Why we are, why irrespective of age group, why we are still promoting? We know that alcohol is not good for health. And even United Nations World Health Organization has listed it among the top causes for death and various diseases is alcohol. And next to alcohol, it is tobacco. And everyone knows it. But in fact, everyone is daily, watching various videos and also coming across. But still, where is our intellect going? Where is our wisdom going? And we still
That's
engage we
I
know that alcohol is bad for our health, society, and again we are consuming. We know we are causing cancer, by smoking and consuming tobacco, but we are actively promoting it and we are consuming it. So what happened to intellect? What happened to our brains?
I that's a very good question to ask, and maybe sometimes difficult to answer it. Ravindra sir, this alcoholism, brands of alcohols, brands of wines, brands of cigarettes and smokes, brands of this tobacco, brands of cigarettes, brands of wine, alcohol, beer, all this, it's a huge billion-dollar industry at a very first place. Whoever has eventually invested in it has earned a lot. So they also end up paying huge taxes to the government as well, while parallelly continuing their business here and there, not genuinely or genuinely. But in the name of them, they continue to support the government as well. Like talking about the intellectual property of one own mental well-being, why a youngster is actually getting into drugs, even though drug is really bad for health. And the sentence is very simple. We always said that drugs is bad to our health and it initially causes harm, but it was never said or never told that how specific it can affect you. Drugs are bad, alcoholism is bad, but 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 it was never said that what can eventually happen in a very specific in depth manner. I think that knowledge is missing out there. So so if one is knowing that one one pack of cigarettes, one smoke of cigarettes will eventually spoils the thousands of bronchi and tracheoles in your lungs, and that we know that. I know this isn't very specific. Someone who is like 18 years old or 17, 18 years old is very fantasical about smoking. He knew that smoking is bad. Smoking is not good for health. That's right. But he doesn't know that how specific it is affecting his lung, how far it can degrade him over the period of time. I think that knowledge is never there in the first place. The recent case studies have said that every single drop of alcohol has a direct impact to your liver in some or the other ways. This knowledge is never known to people in the first place. Then when you wanted to take this alcohol raw, when you wanted to smoke a cigarette and lit it, and you should strike to your mind that every smoke, every push up or every inhale that you take, it is definitely affecting to a square feet of bronchioli in your lungs. So, what I initially do is I took this opportunity to create awareness on it, not just randomly telling it, but this presentation went very smoothly and kind of basic awareness. But I take an opportunity to talk to youth, probably one on one, telling that how far it can worstly be affecting your health, and in turn youth has this point of curiosity in their mind, हाँ एक बार टेस्ट करेंगे क्या होता एक बार. I'll taste alcohol one time with my friends. I'll only smoke two pops. They usually called, I don't know whether you know this one time smoking, inhaling and leaving is called pops. My friends usually tell them. So I'll take two pops and leave this cigarette. I'll take only two sip-ups of beer and leave. That kind of fantasy was there. Before the fantasy, comes into picture, a perfect knowledge is never there. The deep down specific knowledge and how far it could actually help. Eventually, this knowledge is still restricted to these professional doctors. They knew how far it can affect. They knew how much a single pop of inhaling cigarette can affect their lungs, and how much of smoking and how much of gutka, pan, rack, and all. And the other side, tobacco consumption is eventually increasing, and that is addiction is a very big picture to address. So we knowingly or unknowingly, especially youngsters knowing and unknowingly, they fall into addiction. Once they have a curiosity to taste it, that turns out to be a fantasy. That knowingly or unknowingly is an addiction at the end of the day. They continue to do it, and they tend to find some of the other ways to continue this addiction, because if you stop it suddenly, the sensation never leaves on your tongue. The bodily sensation, they wanted that dopamine chemical to release all over your body, the good feeling, the good pleasure wanted. So that wantingness comes and all. So having said that, this is a $1 billion industry to address it. We cannot completely deny it, but what we can do is, with the help of a policy developers, there should be a certain policy stating that alcohol, it is never given to the people of not just about 21 years or 22 years old. Alcohol should be never given to people who were born after 1994. I think, after 1994, which means that they will be 25 or 26. People who born after it should be never given an alcohol. What if some policies like this will eventually reduce the next generation coming up? This youth, when turned will adult, will never get into this part of addiction. Will never go to alcoholism. Will never get into tobacco consumption. Will never get into drugs addiction and all. So on the other side, spiritual being is also very important. The spreadness of spiritual well-being is never known. It starts in the family itself. I knew that most of the parents are here. If you're a parent by any chance, so start some spiritual consciousness in your children. Kind of fill them with the spirituality in life. This definitely helps them to a really lot extent. They don't end up making them demotivated or making them slaggy or laggy, but it kind of fills them to a very pure extent. I think all these other things has to be addressed. And today's market is always said that this uh these acts of tobacco, the ingredients in it are never hazardous to health. Which means that, whenever to the outside market, they usually portray that. But even these are injurious to health, because whenever you go to a pan shop and you buy this Zuba Kesari pan masala, so the ingredients are safe. They are never there at the first place to harm your health. When you buy this pan masala, the pan dabba owner guy usually gives this external substance with pan masala. And that is where all this external chaos coming up. The big picture, the business, what they do, it is never told. They always said that they are genuine and the ingredients are safe and good for health. And that is how very great actors come and promote, and it's a $1 million business industry at the first place. So all the secondary things, pan masala is good, but the some other extra thing that comes up with pan masala is not good. So these two different things are sold separately in two different packets. So there's some kind of occult things happening, and these are the variety of issues, I really think, sir, which are really happening with the youngsters, and this is the main reason why we are unable to stop it and continue forward. And this could be the results, as discussed, could be benefit to people out there.
Thank you, Phanindra. We see there is a huge gap of awareness among, children or youngsters or teenagers. So we need to create more awareness on, as you have mentioned, more specific awareness, what happens, then maybe we have to come up with more such programs, not just motivational speeches in schools and colleges, but we need to have a mandatory session every year or maybe every 3 months or so. See, it's always, industry is always there. We have seen many products that has come, which have been, used by consumers, and those who have not been used by consumers, they disappeared from the market. Even Fortune 500 companies also we have seen, some of them are no longer existing now today. So it's all depends on us individuals. If I choose not to, irrespective of what is happening outside, if I choose not to smoke, not to drink, not to consume any drugs, then definitely it should, like we say, it should all start with us, with a single individual, and then that replicates in the society, and tomorrow this will also stop. So what we have to do, or what we can do, or what we need to do, is just to create awareness, but especially because you have taken a long step ahead, and you are representing in one of the forum in entire India. I think you should take up this very good cause, because this is a kind of sustainable, because lifestyle that is happening, because healthy nation is a wealthy nation, and really you belong to that age group, and I think you have more responsibility. When we are looking, you are also, you have done some counseling, and so, you can really take up, and maybe because you yourself open up that this is a huge gap where we are not able to create a specific awareness on the harmful effects of this. So might be we can work on these issues, like creating more awareness, so that, irrespective of whether what is being promoted, always, these business have their own things. Like we also talk about earlier before your session, today is also chocolate day, and yesterday was some rose day, entire Valentine week. These are all business only. Business, they want to promote their products. That's why they keep one day, and, they promote their business. So these are there for promoting their business and business products only. This culture, day culture, has evolved from business strategists only, those who want to promote their business. But at what cost? Not at the cost of our health, not at the cost of our peace, not at the cost of our family. So that is what we need to really focus on. There are many things. It doesn't mean that if alcohol is available in the market, if drugs are available in the market, if, tobacco is available in the market, we have to go and consume it. No. Let it be there. Let it be there, and let no one consume it. Automatically, the production will stop. If no one is consuming, what they will do? They will also stop producing. Many things have happened in a similar way, which, have gone out of shelves and gone out of markets. So as long as it's like, many activists, health activists, social workers, they keep questioning the government and also industry. They also answer in a similar way. If you stop consuming it, we will stop producing it. And when we look at, the other version of consumers, we say, if they stop it, we will stop consuming it. But, in this process, what is happening? Consumers are at stake. They are, their health is taking for it all. They are the losers, in fact. Business are losing nothing. They will invest in this or they will invest in some other. They need money, so they will invest in something or the other. For them, there is an alternative. But here, as an individual, we don't have an alternative, because if our health, our kidneys, they get spoiled, there is no alternative, right? So we need to create a very specific awareness, as you rightly pointed out. We all know that it's going to cause a serious harm. It is going to take toll on our physical health, mental health, social health, spiritual health, financial health, but still we are consuming. It's not that, this is also behavioral issues, what we call, because we are not consciously aware of what we are doing. We are just carried away by the trends, and we are just carried away by these celebrities. And coming to these celebrities also, what ethical, moral responsibility they have towards their society. Because there is a huge money and you are getting paid, so you can do anything you want. Now, as an individual, what is your responsibility? As a human being, as a responsible citizen of the planet, of the nation. So is it fine that you take huge lump sum amount and, promote such products which are harmful to the individuals, which are harmful to the nation, and also harmful to the planet? Today, we are seeing climate change. And these, green gas emissions and carbon dioxide emissions, and a lot of, even smoking also causes a lot of pollution. And by active smoking, the one who smokes is getting cancer, but through passive smoking, the people around them are also getting cancer. And who is responsible for, these things? I think that person should be, taken for trial for killing. It should be as equal as, attempting to murder, kill them, because through contributing to passive smoking, or he is the root cause for, the other person to get cancer through passive smoking, because he is smoking and he's leaving the smoke and various toxins into the air, and other persons are consuming it, inhaling it. So it can be equally treated as, trying to kill other persons. So are we not, okay, forget what the industry promotes, what governments are promoting, or what other, but what happened to our intellect? We know what is good and what is bad, right? So why, in spite of knowing that this is not good, why we are not restraining them? So I think, everyone has, individual responsibility from our side. It's not just you or me, it's everyone. For everyone, we all needs to be accountable for ourselves. We can't keep blaming, all other people, or, we have to blame ourselves in the very first place. We are responsible for whatever is happening within us, around us, because we are not taking a decision that, okay, this is not good for me, so I will not do it. This is bad for me, so I will avoid it. This is good for me, so I will go with it. It should not be just good for me, but it should also be good for my family, my society, my community, my nation, my planet at large. Because when we are talking about sustainable development, sustainability is where it is good for everyone, including the planet. But, nowadays, sustainability means only, has a different connotation. That's why people today, we are forced to talk on sustainability, because there is no sustainability further. If things keep going in the same way, tomorrow human beings will become extinct. You can make a note. You can write down, my words, and you can see if the same thing continues in the next couple of hundreds of years, human beings will become extinct. No doubt about it, and no one can deny about it. The rate at which we are, causing destruction to the planet. Our planet has survived since billions and millions of years. But what has happened in the past 200, 300 years? There is a huge impact on the planet. So who are the culprits? We human beings. And especially when we are talking, when we have taken charge as in, global leaders or representing, when we are advocating sustainable development, and when we are creating a lot of campaigns and awareness, it is our responsibility, because no one forced us, no one, has given us the duty or responsibility to represent or to advocate on these causes. We ourselves came forward, and we ourselves are advocating because for the, common good for everyone. So it is our responsibility to identify gaps and to work on these gaps and truly work on this. See, there will be always elements in the society where, we see one or other, always there are certain external environment, certain elements which are beyond our control. And we cannot always control these things. But what we can do, we can control ourselves. We can control our own feelings. We can control our own emotions. We can control our own behaviors, and through which we can control our own actions. So no matter what industry promote, what celebrity promotes, it's up to their individual, ethical, moral values, or the culture, the traditions they follow, and what they want to really contribute back to society. Whether they want to give good things to the society or whether they want to promote bad things. It's again, what they are really looking up to. And we also, as a followers, if we are following or if we are admiring a celebrity, we should also rethink about such admiration or such, taking them as a role model. If they are promoting such things, then I think it is a high time that we unfollow them. Otherwise, what is the point in promoting such a personality? We have seen many times it happened also, many celebrities who endorse certain brands has to step back from them because of, huge resistance from their fan base. So they are also very conscious, because they have not become celebrity on their own. It is through their followers or the fan base, they are enjoying the celebrity status. So we have control on what our celebrities, need to do. If they lose their consciousness, if they lose their own will and they are going beyond what they are supposed to, they are in the wrong direction or in the, doing wrong things, we need to raise our voice and we need to give a proper direction so that, because especially youth can do anything. And India is a country where we have the largest youth. The power lies in the youth. So unfortunately, the youth has become slaves, addicted to a lot of this, substance abuse and a lot of this Western culture influence, and they are spoiling. They are not at all thinking about themselves, nor about their families, nor about the nation, or not about the planet. They are not concerned about what is going to happen to the planet. See, by drinking, by smoking, you are causing a huge damage to the planet, not only you, to the planet in which you live. Now, it is not the problem of, industry. It is the problem of an individual. you lack moral consciousness, you lack accountability to yourself, to your planet, to your family. By living by smoking, you are causing not only harm to yourself but also to the community, to your family, to the planet. Now, who is responsible for this? We are answerable, right? Especially, and youth has the power. So, being representing youth, now we have a more responsibility. We are more accountable. We need to talk about this. We need to create more awareness. So what my suggestion on this platform is, you have really, come up with wonderful things, and maybe you can go ahead with addressing these issues. All other things, no matter, they can be addressed later. But, the society, the way in which these are widely promoted, alcoholism or smoking or drinking, or, these sexual relationships, extramarital, premarital, teenage, dating, mating, whatever you call, all these are taking toss on health issues, not only physical health, mental health. Teenage pregnancies is one of the most severe problem in US and other developed countries. And now even in India also we are seeing, without getting married, many teenagers are, becoming pregnant, and they have a lot of issues now. They are not settled, they are still studying, and, a lot of issues are there. And bodily changes, they are unable to cope up. And there are a lot of, again, these family issues later on, when after marriage, if they come to know that, a girl was pregnant before marriage and she has some sexual affairs with boyfriends and other things, again, families are getting broken, they are getting divorced. See, a lot of things are happening. And even with the case of, it's not anymore gender specific. It's now has become, even with the boys also, girls are becoming more and more conscious and mature. And, they are always, higher on the male counterpart. But, nowadays, earlier, due to various reasons, they had very limited choices. But now girls are also becoming financially independent. They are also pursuing their careers, and, they are also taking these things seriously. And, earlier only males used to give divorce, but, nowadays more and more female counterparts are coming forward, and they are the ones who are giving divorce to their husbands. So these are creating a lot of mental health issues in the very first place. That is again leading to physical health issues also. Because, okay, physically, if you get hurt, it is very easy. But mentally, if you get hurt, then it is again a different kind of treatment that goes on. So all these, we need to address, especially we can see this influence of Western culture, which is being forced through media. Unfortunately, these celebrities of their irresponsible behavior, whether we accept or whether we deny it, because they have greater responsibility. Because when you are representing a huge masses, and when they are following you, then you have more responsibility to behave in an appropriate manner. You cannot behave in an irresponsible way. So that's how, people used to say, when you are in a position, it comes with a lot of responsibility, right? So everyone looks up to you, and if you don't behave in a proper way, if you don't talk in a proper way, then you are going to do more damage or more harm than good. This is what happening in the society. That's why, many elders also used to say, this position, power is not so easy to handle. Once you are in a responsible position, or in a responsible place or in a status, you have to be more responsible, more accountable. Now, there is nothing like, personal, I can do whatever I want. That is not personal life. It's no longer a personal life. Often this happens, with lot of celebrities, influencers. Now, there is no personal life. In fact, there is also no private life for them. Many times we have seen, media and other people, they also invaded into the personal, not only personal, even their private lives, even they get into their bedrooms or, washrooms, whatnot. We have seen many cases where, so once you become a celebrity or once you lose your personal life or private life because of the kind of environment that is being created around you, by you or by others. So we have to be more responsible. It's not like, because everyone is observing you. There are some thousands and lakhs or crores of eyes which are observing you every second, every moment. What is your next move? What is your next action? What is your next word? So it comes with a lot of responsibility. That is what, when we are, that's why we can see certain quotes also. If you cannot handle failure, you cannot even handle success, vice versa. So it comes with a lot of responsibility when we represent someone or something. So it comes with a greater responsibility and we have to be very careful. But this is what lacking, even with the seniors or even with the juniors or, in the context of age, I'm talking, even the youngsters or children or even the elders also, and especially the media also, because all the media houses are owned by, these Western counterparts with, they invest money and they want to make money, and they are in the process of, forcing their culture here. So all these things are very much pertinent, which are, also directly, indirectly causing these various issues which are contributing to physical health, mental health, and various health related issues. And with this, sustainable development is also not possible. How sustainable development will be possible with this? People's health is taken for toll. People productivity is taken for toll. And not only that, their careers are also getting ruined. Families are getting affected. Now, how we can call this as a sustainable model? And when we are calling, even when we look at the industry perspective also, is it a sustainable model? No. Sustainability happens when we work for well-being of each other. But when there is no sustainability here, because as an industry you are producing, that is killing people, that is harming people, and that is creating so many diseases and disorders. Now, how do you see yourself sustainable? Tomorrow, if people get diseases and disorders, they will lose their economic power and they will not be able to buy. And they will become slaves. They will again fall into poverty. So this is not a sustainable model, neither it is sustainable development. So in fact, it is a process, it is a policy that is making people vulnerable to diseases, disorders, and also it is, driving them towards poverty, towards unhealthy practices. So these are various things that we need to understand. Okay, whatever outside in the practical world, things may be different, but it is our responsibility at an individual level because it is our health. our physical or mental health and well-being. So irrespective of what happens, at the end of the day, it is we going to benefit or we going to suffer from it. So we have to take conscious efforts, conscious decision, so that we can move along, get along with it. It was nice discussion because you are representing so a huge country. I thought these issues are very much important. At a global level, you need to create awareness, raise awareness, and I would also like to listen to you how you are going forward on these pressing issues, especially in youth, among youth and adolescents. So that's what. So, okay, as we have almost passed our time. So thank you everyone for being part in the discussion. Kindly fill up the feedback form. Feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. Thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night. Dear friends, quickly fill up the feedback form.